Education system is a loop. Yes, the traditional education system puts students into a loop of coming to the school, listen to those boring lectures, go home, do some homework, come back to school, appear in an exam, get some mark, and repeat the loop. This is so frustrating, it felt like slavery. And that's the dark truth of education system in India. But I remembered when I was in 9th standard, there was a revolutionary thing launched in India. It is called Jio 4G. Jio came up with an offer of giving you 4G SIMs and 4G internet for free without paying even a single rupees. Yes, that's the offer Jio came up with, and that was the first experience to high-speed internet. And I started pitching to my parents to buy me an 4G phone and a Jio SIM. And at the end, I got access to a phone called Micromax Bolt 4G. It just had 1 GB of RAM or something like that, and I can use my Jio 4G SIM in that. That was my first experience to high speed, high quality internet, where I came to know to the world of YouTube, to the world of video streaming, accessing a lot of applications. Those are the first time I came across to all of that, because before that there was only 2G or 3G internet that is as good as not having internet. So these are the issues solved by the Jio 4G, and I was fascinated by the world of internet. Now the things are going to be more interesting down the line, because I came across an ad which changed the way I see education system forever. The ad asked me that, are you struggling to learn maths? Then why don't you try learning maths visually? That was so refreshing as a person who is daily listening to their teachers' boring lectures, coming back to home and didn't have anything fun to do in education system. He downloads the app. The UI looks so interesting, so cool, and once you go and see the videos, the visual animations that are going on, the way the teachers are explaining, it was so nice and so refreshing, and that changed everything for me. The app was BYJU's, and the first thing I learned on that app was Pythagoras theorem. I was in class 9th and this theorem is new to me. I tried to understand in the class, but I was not very successful in doing that. But once I came across the BYJU's video on Pythagoras theorem, I was blown away. The triangle is breaking down, animation is going on, the teacher is explaining. It looked so cool that I cannot explain you in words what an experience it was. And this added to a major success reason of EdTech's growth in India. The most prominent feature of EdTech was that it is providing a holistic learning approach and also a lot of flexibility to the student. These two things has created a great learning experience for the students, and that made it brag-worthy. I shared this experience to my friends, and almost all of my friends jumped, downloaded the app and started using it. Now this is the major reason of EdTech success from a user's perspective. Now, as I am a person who works in the EdTech industry today, I can give you the business perspective to why EdTech was successful. From a business perspective, EdTech was successful because of its asset-light model. What is an asset-light model? You don't have to invest a lot of capital in order to start an EdTech business. Let me give you a brief of that. If you wanted to start an offline institute, first of all, you have to rent or lease a property. Then you have to furnish that property, bring in furnitures, fix the lightings, electricity. A lot of things are there. Then you need teachers who will be full-time paid with you. Then again, you have to pull in a lot of admin stuff to manage your business out there. Then you have miscellaneous cost of electricity, water, XYZ. Apart from all of this, you also have to bear a very high cost of traditional advertising. So these things makes the offline education industry very, very capital intensive. If you want to go and start something offline, you have to have a lot of money in hand. In comparison to that, an EdTech startup don't have to buy any property or lease it out, don't have to rent or lease any property, they don't have to bear the cost of furnitures, they don't have to even hire teachers full-time. They can be contractual or the partnership with the EdTech institute that every course sell, I will take 10% out of it. Moreover, there is a very low cost of admin stuff, as a lot of things are automated and there are no miscellaneous charges. Apart from this, the biggest cost saving is in the marketing format, because now online marketing is much cheaper than that of offline marketing. Now investing in digital marketing is giving you much higher ROI than that of traditional marketing. So these things give the EdTech startups a great competitive edge over offline institutes. But now the problem started to arise. Now, once the entry barrier is very low, it is very easy for people to jump in the wagon. So a lot of competitors started to pull in, and this has cluttered the market a lot. Most of these organizations are marketing dependent, and they're mostly working on the fund raised from the investors. And at that point of time itself, the COVID hit, offline system was shut down, and now the online is becoming dominant. A lot of funding is raised, a lot of workforce is hired, and a lot of money is poured into client acquisition. This has created a massive growth to the EdTech industry. Every other startup was growing at a phenomenal rate, and every investor was happy looking at the growth. But as soon as the COVID went away and the offline system was back in action, things started to go downwards. The growth these startups are experiencing suddenly started to stagnate, and their profits are even going down due to the huge workforce. And then the dark phase started. Today we are seeing every day thousands of employees are laid off from these top EdTech startups, and this is because they have made a huge mistake in the business dynamics. The business dynamics was in support of EdTech because of the asset-light model, but they have transformed the asset-light model to a very highly capital-intensive model because of the misjudgment and the wrong decisions they took. They hired a lot of workforce, which required a lot of money to sustain. They put a lot of money on advertising, which has spiked up the prices of ad and the cost of client acquisition. Now, as there are a lot of options, they have went into a price war to manipulate the decision of the buyer, and this things has cut down the margins by a huge amount, and this is what has disturbed the unit economics of these EdTech startups and made EdTech a bubble. But let's understand why the big brands and the top EdTech startups are suffering at this point of time. Seeing the global inflation rise, every investor is ready to go under a bull run. Every other investor is holding their money up and not investing a lot of money in these startups. And as these startups are very highly dependent on fund and their profitability is very low to none, they are facing a major challenge. So does it mean that EdTech is a bubble and it is going to burst now? You need to understand the different types of EdTech startups in order to understand if EdTech will survive. So to understand it, we have three different segments. Number one is the super brands. What are super brands? Brands like BYJU and Unacademy, which has made their name so big that they are commonly known to everyone. So these brands are called as super brands. Now the problem with the super brands are they have transformed their model from an asset-light model to a highly capital-intensive model, and now they need funding to survive as they are not hugely profitable, and this is creating a huge mess for them. As in this funding crunch, if they don't get sufficient amount of funding, they might have to lay off more of their workforce, shut many of their operations. So this is a major issue that is coming up for these super brands. Now there are marketing dependent brands. Marketing dependent brands are brands like Vedantu, which don't have a huge brand like BYJU and Unacademy, but they are very much dependent on marketing and selling their product. Now the problem with these brands are that these brands are highly dependent on the funding, because once the funding comes in, they use the money to do marketing and acquire clients, and then they try to generate profit out of it. Now the problem is that the ad cost has been pushed up so high that the client that these startups can acquire at 10,000 rupees in 2018 and 2019 has shoot up to 35 to 40,000 rupees in 2020 and 2021. So this is a huge difference. They have spent so much in advertising to a certain audience, and this rising ad cost and acquisition cost has created a great mess for these marketing dependent brands. But now there is a segment which is very profitable. These are called as organic or strategic growth brands. What do I mean by that? Organic growth brands are those brands which have grown organically into some social media platforms or on the internet, and then they have transformed that brand into an EdTech startup. So the examples of such brands are Physics Wale, which has started as a YouTube channel where Alak Pandey sir started teaching, and today it has transformed into an EdTech organization and it has seen immense growth. Similarly, there are other brands like Apni Kaksha, Study IQ, which has followed the same path and grown into massive EdTech startups. Now there are strategic growth brands. What are strategic growth brands? Strategic growth brands are those brands which have planned their growth very nicely. They have not overspent, they have not overhired, they have made the perfect calculation and perfect fit of how much they have to spend, where they have to spend, and how they will spend it. The example of this is Growth School. Growth School has seen immense growth in these last few years, and that is only because of this strategic growth plan. They have strategically invested their capital on the advertising platforms and tried to offer very lucrative workshop and master courses. Now the main growth factor of such startups are that they don't only highly depend on paid advertising, but they use paid advertising as a way to bring in customers and make communities, email lists, and different formats to re-nurture and retarget audiences so that they can keep their ad cost low and make maximum profit out of it. So now you have got answer to the question that if EdTech is a bubble or not. No, EdTech is not a bubble, but if you want to start your EdTech journey and you want to build a EdTech startup too, we have something for you which can help you in building that. You just have to visit www.edisonos.com and there you can start building your learning environment for free. You get a whole technology infrastructure which is best in class, and the main thing is that you can scale it to any limit. You just have to go to edisonos.com and get started for free, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to get more of such videos.